YouTube. Currently, there is a lawsuit here in New Jersey against the Aberdeen-Matawan School District regarding the Pledge of Allegiance. The lawsuit was filed by the American Humanist Association on behalf of an atheist couple and their child, who are remaining anonymous. And as you may have guessed, the focus of the case is on the words "under God" in the pledge. The lawsuit is challenging New Jersey Statute 18A, Chapter 36-3, Section C, which states, "Every Board of Education shall require the pupils in each school in the district on every school day to salute the United States flag and repeat the following Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Which salute and pledge of allegiance shall be rendered with the right hand over the heart, except that pupils who have conscientious scruples against such pledge or salute, or are children of accredited representatives of foreign governments to whom the United States government extends diplomatic immunity, shall not be required to render such salute and pledge, but shall be required to show full respect to the flag while the pledge is being given, merely by standing at attention, the boys removing the headdress." The key word here is require, which means that unless a student is the child of a foreign diplomat or is a conscientious objector of sorts, all students are compelled by the New Jersey government to salute the flag and recite the pledge. And even those who are exempt from saluting and reciting must stand at attention. The problem with this statute is that compulsory flag saluting and pledge recitations were ruled unconstitutional 71 years ago by the U.S. Supreme Court in West Virginia's State Board of Education versus Barnett. So legally, the statute is unenforceable and must be ruled unconstitutional now that it is being challenged in court. For the record, I see no point in campaigns to remove the "under God" portion from the pledge, and that might be a little surprising to hear from an atheist. And of course, that's not what this court case is about. We all know that it was added in the 50s as a knee-jerk reaction to the Red Scare, but I accept that it does not violate the Freedom of Religion Clause in the First Amendment by having it in the pledge, so long as the pledge is not compulsory. And as I said before, no one can legally be compelled to stand for or salute the flag or recite the pledge, but kids usually don't know that because schools are often required by local or state mandates to lead the pledge, as they are here in New Jersey. And that is where my problem with it comes in. I'm rather stymied by how public schools can legally lead the Pledge of Allegiance at all. Now, I fully admit that I did not attend law school, so my speculations are purely from a layman's understanding of the law. If state-sanctioned prayer in public schools is unconstitutional, as it violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, as decided in U.S. Supreme Court case Engel v. Vitale of 1962, then how is it legal for public schools to lead a flag salute and the pledge, especially one that includes the phrase "under God," which does make the pledge religious in nature, thereby making the practice a state-sanctioned endorsement of theism over non-theism? Now, this question has been brought before the Supreme Court before in Elk Grove Unified School District versus Newdow, but the court didn't officially answer the question because the judges decided that Michael Newdow, the atheist parent suing on behalf of his daughter, had no legal standing to bring suit because he was not the custodial parent. Justice Rehnquist put in his 2 cents by stating that the phrase "under God" isn't so much a religious affirmation, but a patriotic one that recognizes the country's annoying religious history, which is about as compelling an argument as I could expect from an impassioned Facebook rant from a stereotypical American Christian who has never read the Constitution nor the writings of the nation's founders. And even if it didn't include the phrase "under God," the principle would still pretty much be the same. If compulsory religion is unconstitutional, then compulsory patriotism must be as well. And it is. Going back to the Barnett case, it sought to protect the religious beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses, who are expressly forbidden in their religion to swear fealty to anything or anyone above their God. To quote Justice Jackson in the decision, "The case is made difficult not because the principles of its decision are obscure, but because the flag involved is our own. Nevertheless, we apply the limitations of the Constitution with no fear that freedom to be intellectually and spiritually diverse, or even contrary, will disintegrate the social organization. To believe that patriotism will not flourish if patriotic ceremonies are voluntary and spontaneous instead of a compulsory routine is to make an unflattering estimate of the appeal of our institutions to free minds. We can have intellectual individualism and the rich cultural diversities that we owe to exceptional minds only at the price of occasional eccentricity and abnormal attitudes. When they are so harmless to others or to the state as those we deal with here, the price is not too great. But freedom to differ is not limited to things that do not matter much. That would be a mere shadow of freedom. The test of its substance is the right to differ as to things that touch the heart of the existing order. And the existing order often demands that atheists subscribe to the grin and bear it brand of solutions. I wish I could say that this sort of thing is largely harmless, but it demonstrates the underlying hostility toward atheists that persists in our society. Anything that further alienates and isolates atheists as an other that must shut their mouths rather than confront state-sanctioned theism in violation of a constitution that disallows the government from playing favorites with religion should not be ignored. Sure, we adults may have an easier time dealing with it, but kids aren't likely to be equipped factually or emotionally to tackle such things. They have to go to school and put up with cruel, cliquey little termites that seek out and belittle anybody who is different in any capacity, especially those who deviate from the heart of the existing order, the belief in a God, something that most Americans never even think to question. This behavior doesn't exist in a vacuum. They learn it from their small-minded, civically illiterate, history-revising parents who teach them that atheists are the ones who are trying to take their rights to worship away, when in fact all we want is the ceasing of the systematic inculcation of deities into which they do not belong, like public schools, civil law, and politics. Even the Supreme Court of the United States has used the excuse that references to a God have been part of the language of many important figures in historical documents, therefore plugging God into institutions that have no business even mentioning it, like state constitutions, our currency, our oaths to public office, and to be truthful while testifying in court, is okay. But it really isn't okay. These things are ingrained in the public imagination of what it means to be an American, which is why atheists have been accused of being wholly unpatriotic, including veterans like me. So while it seems minor to some people, all of these references to a God in institutions that are supposed to be secular has allowed this climate of disgust for non-believers as being disloyal and contrary to the public good to be reinforced again and again. And as for the pledge, is it legal to keep the phrase "under God"? Of course it is. But is it therefore legal to lead the pledge in public schools? As I said, I cannot fathom how state-led prayer in public schools is unconstitutional, while a state-led oath to loyalty, especially one that includes a reference to a God, is perfectly legal. I do hope this makes it to the Supreme Court again someday, and if this practice is officially ruled constitutional, I hope the justices can come up with a better explanation other than confirmation bias.
She was pure, every ounce. I was sure when her titties bounced everywhere. She's a winner, turn a gay. Preacher to a sinner, y'all. The one you want your mama to meet. She's a